Okay, here we are. Just for perspective, there's the back of the house. We are in the big backyard. The creek area is down there.
You can hear the birds calling.
It's always been really nice. And growing up, believe it or not, we would catch crawdads. We would tie little bits of bacon to a string, and we would catch and eat crawdads. We did that a couple times. And of course,
Minnows.
Catch minnows that we could use for bait. And it wasn't deep enough for perch or anything. We could go to other parts of town for that. And if you wanted to be sneaky, you could come back into this bushy part, which does have poison ivy, but we've been lucky.
Occasionally a wasp nest or a hornet's nest, so we'd have to be really careful. Poor Jason got into one time.
That's our brother.
But Jason always up to a lot of mischief back here. Always up to no good. And somehow always managed to get away with it too. If you could imagine this whole spot from the part that the brush starts growing all the way to this big, thick green area.
Yeah, this whole...
Jason and a friend of his from down the street, playing around, I guess with matches or a lighter, managed to set this section of the yard on fire. And that was pretty scary. Dad was yelling, actually yelling for us to run out and help, so we managed to put it out ourselves, thankfully, with shovels, and we put a bunch of dirt on it, but don't really know how that happened. We didn't really talk much about it afterwards.
I think
that was his pyromaniac stage.
Yeah, Jason got the brunt of most of the talking, I think. Yeah. This is also where he got mad at me one day, and I, as I mentioned before, am a rock hound and had quite a collection of nice rocks, and before we moved here we lived in Anchorage, Alaska, and I had started my collection there, so I had a bunch of really cool rocks that you cannot find in Texas because, you know, they're from Alaska. So he got mad at me and got back at me in the way he knew would hurt me most. He threw all my rocks out here, and I only managed to recover maybe 2. He just tossed my rock collection out. He has since apologized. I think it took a decade or so.